There is a man who has been in more movies than almost every actor in Hollywood without ever showing his face. He nearly died a dozen times, broke 56 bones in his body, lit himself on fire on purpose, and crashed over 300 cars, and was even the first actual human crash test dummy to test an airbag. He dated Hollywood starlets, attended fancy red carpet events, made millions of dollars, and changed everything about the car chase movies. He became the body double for the most famous actor in the 70s, and eventually the writer and director of some of the greatest car stunt movies ever made. He's so legendary, in fact, that director Quentin Tarantino even made a movie about him, and he was portrayed by Brad Pitt. So how does this son of a sharecropper end up living the Hollywood dream, earning an Academy Award, owning a NASCAR team, and being crowned king of car stunts? Welcome to the insane true story of Hal Needham.
My name's Hal Needham. My face you will not recognize.
Hal Needham was born in the hills of Arkansas during the Great Depression. A poor sharecropper's son, he spent his childhood behind a mule as it went up and down rows of cotton. He lived in small cabins with no indoor plumbing, carrying buckets of water up a hill and using a hole in the ground as a toilet. His stepfather moved them from farm to farm every year, looking for work, and by the time Hal was 10, his mother was caring for him and his 4 siblings. But Hal was a happy kid. With no television or any connection to the world outside his town, his ignorance was bliss. And he never felt lacking or sorry for himself because he never knew it existed outside his world. When World War II broke out, his stepfather enlisted and the entire family moved to St. Louis. Having no formal education, Hal picked up odd jobs, setting up bowling pins in an alley, selling sodas at baseball games, and climbing tall trees for a tree trimming service. And he would have kept going from job to job until one day when he saw a face staring at him. It was the face of Uncle Sam on a poster, and below it were the words, "I want you." Hal was 18, and the Army needed men for the Korean War. At Fort Bragg, he learned to jump out of airplanes for the 82nd Airborne Unit, how to be a paratrooper, and how not to be injured. But after months of training, he was never deployed to Korea. When his service in the military was over, Hal heard about a TV show looking for stuntmen to fall off horses. So Hal and his buddy signed up. At the time, he had no idea that he was about to define himself in the world and change his life forever. Over the next 20 years, Hal would become one of Hollywood's leading stuntmen, appearing in 310 movies and 4,500 television shows, giving him the title of being in more movies than any other actor in Hollywood. Hal was one of the hardest working men in town, a work ethic he picked up from his days in the fields as a sharecropper. Hal was fearless. There was no stunt he turned down. Hal was even the first person to act as a human crash test dummy to test out a new invention in automobiles, the airbag. And after thousands of projects, one day he got a call for a job that would change his life in a way he could never see coming. Universal Studios called him in, gave him a set of clothes, and told him to find the guy on the lot wearing the same outfit. That's who he was doubling that day. It turned out it was Burt Reynolds. Now, can we talk for a minute about Burt Reynolds? Burt in the 70s was a big star. Big. And an even bigger sex symbol. If People magazine had been making their annual Sexiest Man Alive issues back in the 70s, Burt would have won all 10 years. Burt was the epitome of the A-list superstar. Good-looking, rugged, Hollywood actress dating sex symbol. Women literally threw themselves at him. And Burt's on-camera persona, as a tough good old boy driving fast cars and getting into fights, only added to his attractive bad boy mystique. Burt and Hal hit it off as if they were long-lost brothers. They would go on to be good friends, best friends, and I mean best friends. They became so close that Hal moved in with Burt, and they lived together as roommates for 12 years. Burt Reynolds and Hal Needham were the best alpha male and wingman duo who could ever walk into a room. You know that movie, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, where Leonardo DiCaprio is a big actor who hangs out with his best friend and body double Brad Pitt? That was based on Burt and Hal. Hal doubled for Burt on all his movies, including the car chase movie White Lightning and its sequel Gator. Yes, that's Hal doing the record-breaking boat stunt in the movie Gator. And it was on that movie Gator that Hal got an idea for a car chase movie about bootlegging Coors beer. The story goes that during the filming of Gator, the crew had Coors beer brought in at the end of each shooting day, and it was constantly being stolen by the housekeepers who were cleaning the rooms at the hotel. When the cleaning ladies were finally caught, they explained it was illegal to have Coors in the state, and they were making $20 a six-pack selling Coors beer to locals. And that got Hal thinking about a car chase movie about smuggling Coors. Now, like most people in Hollywood, Hal had a secret dream to write and direct big fancy movies, and here was his chance to write one. So when Hal wasn't with Burt on the Gator movie set, or picking up women, Hal wrote a draft of his idea. It was an okay story, and it probably would have gone nowhere, but Hal's best friend and roommate Burt Reynolds agreed to play the lead role, and Burt demanded Hal direct it. Suddenly, Hal Needham was about to direct his first Hollywood movie. Hal looked at Smokey and the Bandit as the ultimate car chase movie. You see, up till now, the history of the car chase movie was almost non-existent. Up until the late 60s, if you did a scene in a car, it was really filmed on a soundstage, with a video rear projection making it look like the car was moving. Take a look at James Bond here. But in 1968, Steve McQueen made the movie Bullet, and he drove his 1968 Ford Mustang GT on location through the actual streets of San Francisco. Later, in 1971, the French Connection upped the game by putting a cameraman in the back seat of a 1971 Pontiac Le Mans and undercranking the camera to make it feel like the cars were moving faster. But all of this was just cool driving, not dramatic stunts. Hal wanted to increase the speed for real, and the stunts. After all, he was a stuntman. He wanted car crashes, jumps, rollovers, and all the dangerous action that got people hurt. Nowadays, nobody would risk what Hal wanted to do. The Fast and Furious is full of digital effects for all the dangerous stuff. But in the mid-70s, Hal Needham wanted to pull off these stunts in real life. No special effects, just pure adrenaline car stunts. The Smokey and the Bandit bridge jump, where Burt jumps his 1977 Pontiac Firebird Trans Am over a 60-foot bridge, was the real deal with rocket boosters in the back. No special effects. Upon its release, Smokey and the Bandit was a huge success for Burt and Hal, and made them a lot of money. But it did something even greater. It made car stunt movies the new rush for audiences. It goes without saying that doing car stunts requires a lot more than meets the eye. And with audiences constantly demanding more and more death-defying acts, it meant a new industry needed to be created, and Hal Needham was the godfather of this direction. The frames of the vehicles were heavily reinforced with strong steel, so the drivers were safer, and roll cages were added, so if a car was ever in a situation where it ended up rolling, the vehicles were safe. And as Hal would go on to make movie after movie, he needed to keep upping his game in his car stunts. In his next 5 chase movies, which included the sequels to Smokey and the Bandit, as well as multiple Cannonball Runs, and even a NASCAR film, Stroker Ace, he invented new equipment to pull off his vision, including the air ram, the car cannon turnover, the nitrogen racket, and the Shotmaker car camera, a flatbed truck designed especially to mount a car on for traveling shots to make stunts safer and yet more spectacular at the same time. Even after Hal retired from movie making, he was still inspirational to the new standard in car equipment, the biscuit rig, a full camera rig on a flatbed used to film movies like Mission Impossible, Ford vs. Ferrari, and the latest Mad Max. Oddly, it was invented for the movie Seabiscuit. For a time, Hal would go on to become famous amongst the Hollywood crowd. In 1977, Gabriel Toys introduced the Hal Needham Western movie stunt set, complete with a cardboard Old West saloon movie set, lights and props, a toy movie camera, and a spring-launched Hal Needham action figure that would break through a balcony railing and land on breakaway tables and chairs.
And Hal Needham the Stuntman is really a super new kind of action figure.
In his later years, Hal Needham moved out of stunt work and focused his energy on the World Land Speed Record project. In 1979, the Budweiser rocket, driven by stuntman Stan Barrett, attempted to break the world record. However, the team failed to set an officially sanctioned World Land Speed record with that vehicle. In the 1980s, Hal and Burt co-owned the Mach 1 racing team, which had the Skoal Bandit number 33 car and the NASCAR Winston Cup Series. Hal Needham received a Lifetime Achievement Award from the Tourist World Stunt Awards, and in 2012, he was given an Oscar. Hal Needham died on October 25, 2013, shortly after being diagnosed with cancer. He was 82. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please be sure to subscribe and leave a like, and we'll see you in the next one.